Hey everybody, Tom Sparks with Sparks Media Group. Today we're going to do a podcast about a day in the life of what I do. So my day started at 6:30 a.m. I woke up, got myself together, did all the usual adult stuff, went into the office, and I checked some emails. I replied to some emails, replied to some posts on LinkedIn, kind of just looked over my calendar to see what my day was like. And then I took some notes down for what I wanted to do today as far as what wasn't on my calendar. Grabbed all my items and started packing them in my car for today's shoot. So I have a few shoots today, actually. The first shoot is going to be a real estate shoot about an hour away. But before that, I'm going to get to the town that the shoot is in a little bit early because I have a conference call, paid Zoom consultation call with a client. So I'm going to do that from my car, and then I'll do the real estate shoot. The real estate shoot consists of photography, a floor plan, and I'm going to use this Insta360 X4 that was sent to me by Insta360 to get some 360 panels to throw together in a virtual tour. After that, I have another conference call, and then I'm going to grab some lunch, and then I'm going to head to a shoot this evening where I'm doing headshots of some board members from a country club. So that's the day in a nutshell, and I'll be doing work in between on road warrior status. So it's currently about 7:40 a.m. and I'm just getting on the road. I'm going to hit a Starbucks up and grab some coffee and a muffin. Typically throughout the day as I'm driving, I'll be recording voice notes on different marketing strategies or different, kind of to-do lists for when I get back to the office. Now I have Sparks Media Group, which is the residential real estate side of photography. I have Scan Your Space, which I started not long after, which is for the commercial side, industrial, hospitality, pretty much every other industry. I also have Sparks Photo Booth Fun, which is a photo booth company that provides photo booths for weddings, corporate events, birthday parties, launch events, things like that. And then I have Thomas Sparks Photography, which really caters to doing portraits and family photos, wedding photos, corporate event photos, party photos, things like that. So those 4 businesses keep me pretty busy. Each one has its own website. Each one needs its own marketing. Each one needs its own type of photographers. As an example, tomorrow I'll be doing dance. There's a dance company in town for kids, I think age maybe like 4 to 15, 4 to 17, somewhere around there. And each year I do all their pre-recital photos. So that involves setting up a backdrop and just literally photographing, hundreds of kids. And then on Saturday, we're going to be doing photography and videography of, I think, 4 different performances throughout the day. Dance performances for them. So a lot of businesses, a lot of photo shoots. Every day is something different. As I'm driving, I'll kind of tell you how I got started in this. Back in, I'll rewind it a little bit further back before I got started. My grandfather worked for the Vallejo Police Department. He retired in 92 and passed away in 92. He had cancer. And his job was the senior evidence technician. So he basically went out and did all the crime scene photos, took measurements, and did a bunch of stuff. And that's kind of dumbing it down because he went to school pretty much non-stop for different things like learning how to look at blood splatter patterns and just, all kinds of different things other than photography. Previous to that, he was in the Navy as a radio man, so that really had nothing to do with photography. But anyway, so he passed away in 92. He had a camera. It was a Sears KS1, which I think was made by Ricoh. It was a 35 millimeter manual film camera. There's nothing automatic on it. And when he passed away, I inherited that camera. And it kind of just sat in this metal briefcase. I thought, growing up watching WWF, WWE wrestling, I remember seeing $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and his bodyguard Virgil, and Virgil would come out with this briefcase full of money. And to me, that metal camera case looked like a case full of money. And I guess, in theory it is, because a camera can make you money. So I had this camera sitting on my shelf for years. I graduated in 97 from high school. And as soon as I graduated, or a little before I graduated, I took a black and white photography class at Solano Community College. And that kind of taught me the basics on how to use the camera. Keep in mind, there was no digital back then, at least none that nobody I knew had. And so everybody was using manual or automatic 35 millimeter cameras. And we were all just learning how to use them. So took a class, and then I started taking pictures of random objects. It could have been a garbage can or a piece of metal laying on the ground. I went from that to taking pictures of friends. So anytime a friend would need some, photos, I would take pictures. And then that branched off to family members, and, anytime there was a birthday celebration, I was there with the camera. And eventually, somebody would tell somebody about me. I remember I did college graduation photos of a friend from high school. And then I got my first digital camera, which was an Olympus point-and-shoot camera. It was a 1.3 megapixel camera. And I took that to different parties and would take pictures at parties. This is before MySpace, so there was a few websites out that we would all post on, and so we wanted pictures for that. So eventually, people started referring people to me. And I got heavily involved with photographing models and music artists around that time. I think I had got on the internet and was looking for maybe photographers near me, or I can't remember exactly what I was searching for, but I found a guy in Vallejo who was a photographer, and he had these photos that looked like they were out of a magazine. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, if you ever need help on a photo shoot, I'd love to learn from you. And he responded and brought me on, and I literally was his reflector guy. So I would hold a reflector during his photo shoots. And I kind of just learned how to pose people and certain angles to take, and that sort of thing. Turns out he was a fashion photographer who ended up moving to New York and doing fashion photography in New York. And his name is Bruno Versace, and he's a really good friend of mine to this day. And I think I met him probably around 99, 2000, somewhere in that range. So started taking pictures of models and music artists, and I always say that they were fun to look at and cool to hang out with, but they didn't like to pay that much. And I don't know what it is. I think models are probably thinking that anybody with a camera would want to take pictures of them. Kind of the same thing with music artists. They think that they're, famous and they shouldn't have to pay that much. So I realized that there wasn't a lot of money in that. It took me a lot of years, though, to realize that, and I had taken pictures of a lot of models and music artists in that time. Throughout the whole, years of doing that, I was still doing family photos and the occasional wedding and that sort of thing. So, what happened? Let's see here. Fast forward to 2014, 2015, a website popped up called thumbtack.com. And Thumbtack was a site where people would, say, I'm looking for a wedding photographer, or I'm looking for a photo booth, or I'm looking for a real estate photographer. And you, as the professional, had a profile on there, and you could pay to bid on that job. And so it might be $5, it might be $10, and you give a quote, and then they see a link to your work or your portfolio or whatever, and there's reviews on there, kind of like Yelp. You get up to a 5-star rating, you get feedback and that sort of thing. So I created a profile on Thumbtack to try to kind of expand my horizons, or expand my clientele. And I wasn't getting hired at first. And that was strange to me because I thought I was doing decent work and just wasn't sure why. And I realized it was because I didn't have very many reviews. So eventually I started getting work on there. And these jobs were everything from taking pictures of solar panel installations to doing a photo booth at NBA basketball players' birthday party, to taking pictures of conferences, multiple headshot photos or photo shoots, car photography, airplane photography, funeral photography, literally the gamut of everything. And I started making money, and I started getting reviews, and when I stopped really focusing on Thumbtack, I think I had 243 5-star reviews. At one point, I was taking pictures for Thumbtack's corporate offices, and the person at Thumbtack reached out to me and said, we hired you because you have a lot of reviews, but you also have spent the most money with us out of any photographer in the area. And I think they told me at one point, because I have to pay for these bids, I was spending around, I think, $40,000 a year. Now my return on investment was way more than that. So, $40,000 is a lot, but I was making a lot more than that. And that actually shocked me because I didn't realize it was that much. At some point, I just kind of got, I don't know, burned out dealing with smiling at weddings, and there was a lot going on. I did also lose a lot of family members unexpectedly in 2015, which kind of like took a toll on me mentally, and kind of just didn't want to be around people. So a company reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in doing real estate photography? And I hadn't heard of that. I've heard of it, but I hadn't kind of realized that that was a thing. So I became a real estate photographer. This was in 2017, 2018. No, it's 2017. I had my camera, my regular lenses. I didn't even have a tripod. So they told me what to get. They said, you need a ball head tripod. You need a wide angle lens, ideally somewhere in the 12, 14, 16 millimeter range. If you buy a drone, we can keep you busy with that. So I went out and bought everything. I bought a really good tripod. I have a ProMaster tripod, and at some point I'll put a link somewhere where you can click on it and look at it and buy it. It's a carbon fiber tripod, really sturdy and lightweight. The lens I bought was a Rokinon 14 millimeter manual focus lens. I think it was around $600, $700 on Amazon. I couldn't afford the lens that I wanted, which was a 12 to 24 millimeter, because that was about $2,000, $2,300, somewhere around there, dollar range. And so I went and did my first photo shoot for real estate, and that was a house, really nice house in Benicia, California. And boy, did I screw that up. Angles were all off. Bracketing was slightly off. I just, kind of screwed it up. So this company, gave me some feedback, which I thrive on. One thing about feedback is we're often reluctant to give it. We don't want to say, yeah, this could have been better. So usually what happens is people don't say anything, and you just never hear from them again. I don't think that's a good way at all for a business to improve. Right? Like if I did a photo shoot for somebody and I never heard from them again and they weren't happy with the photos, how can I improve as a business owner? So I thrive on constructive criticism type feedback. I don't want to hear, oh yeah, the pictures look great. I know they look great. I did them to the best of my ability. What I want to hear is, oh, well, we didn't like this angle, or the lighting could have been better here, or the coloring was off there, that sort of thing. So this company gave me some feedback, and they kept sending me to shoots, and I kept getting better and better. And I think, at one point I was doing maybe 7 shoots a week for this company. They weren't paying much at all. And I didn't have to do any editing. It literally was just show up, shoot, and leave. But, there was a lot of driving involved, and there was a lot of customer service because I had to smile and be nice to the agents and that sort of thing. And let me kind of go back to even before high school. I've always been pretty shy and never enjoyed public speaking. I just was really, really shy. So having to talk to strangers was, a challenge. As I've gotten older, it's been easier. But so anyway, I was going to shoots for them, and hold on 1 second.
I was like, who's this guy in front of me driving 15? What's up, man?
Heading to work?
Head to Napa, bro. You?
Sonoma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be safe.
You too. Take care. Sorry, I'm in traffic and just seen one of my guys, Jesus Martinez, high school friend, owner of West Coast Floor Company in the Bay Area, 707-864-2199. I think that's his number. He does amazing work with flooring, him and his crew. So if you're ever in need of hardwood or really any type of flooring, give Jesus a call and tell him I referred you. Back to the story. So this company was doing 3D virtual tours using Matterport cameras, and I've always had the mindset of, let me try to figure out what you're doing and see if I can do it better. And more importantly, not rely on somebody to give me a check, but try to figure out how I can go out and earn it. So I went out and found Matterport, found out where they were and reached out to them and ordered me a camera. And I think they were about $3,000, maybe, give or take. And with this real estate media company, they said, if we send you on a Matterport shoot, you'll have to meet up with one of our photographers who has the camera and get the camera from them and then go do the shoot and that sort of thing. And I just, they were based kind of down around the San Jose area, and I didn't want to have to drive that far to pick up a camera. I just figured I'd buy one, and if I can use it on my own to make money, then great. So I bought the camera. I told the company, I bought a camera, and they were shocked that I spent the money on it. And they said, well, now you're considered competition of ours. And, I was in my head going, well, that's dumb, because I have a camera. That doesn't mean I'm competition. I have a drone. That doesn't mean I'm competition. Why does me owning a Matterport camera make me all of a sudden competition? So, the relationship with that company went downhill pretty quick. There was also a few customer service issues that they had or I had with them that really bothered me. I would be headed to a photo shoot, and there'd be traffic, so I'd let them know I'm going to be about 10 minutes late, or I'm going to be 20 minutes late. There's an accident or there's traffic, whatever the reason was. And they said, okay, thanks for letting us know. We'll let the client know, which is a realtor. And I would show up to the shoot, and the realtor was like, you're late. I have to leave. I have another appointment. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I called the office and told them, and they said, yeah, they never let me know. So that was annoying, because it's like, time is money, and you should treat everybody's time with respect. So there was another issue that happened where in Vallejo on Mare Island, which is an old Navy base I do a lot of content at now. I've been shooting out there for years. This company sent me out there to do a real estate shoot. Now, primarily they were sending me on residential real estate shoots. Well, I would say the entire time it was residential real estate shoots. this time was, a commercial type shoot of warehouses, offices, that sort of thing. And they were paying me, I think, $50 for the shoot, which back then was decent because I could do a shoot in like 30, 40 minutes. And I could do multiple shoots a day. So it was some decent money, but $50 for a commercial property shoot is nothing. And they said, it'll take you 10 minutes, just grab like 3 or 4 shots. And I got there, and it was probably a 80,000 square foot warehouse. And, like, what's the 3 or 4 shots I'm going to get of this warehouse? No, I need to shoot more. So I did the shoot as if it was my own client. I shot multiple angles. I spent time walking with the property manager, and they were showing me what they wanted, and I captured it, and I was telling them stories about me being from Vallejo, and we kind of just built this connection. And I left, and I delivered the images to the company to edit, as I did every day. And probably a week later, I get a call, and it's the property manager from the island. Now, keep in mind, they didn't have my number. I didn't give them my number. I think they knew my name from the invite. They Googled me and found me, and they said, hey, we haven't received the images yet. Do you know what the holdup is? And I said, well, I turned them in that day. I'll reach out. And I reached out to the company, and they said, oh, yeah, we'll send it to them. And a couple days go by. The property manager calls me back and says, we still haven't received them. I said, all right, well, let me do this. I'll edit them and send them to you since I still have them, and that'll get you going. And, if when they send you the pictures, they're better than what I send you, then, feel free to use them. But at least I'll give you some stuff to get you going. So I edited the pictures. They came out okay, but not the greatest. And I sent them to the client, and they used them. And I don't know if the company ever did send them the photos, but it just, another kind of bad taste that was left in my mouth. So I was like, all right, I'm going to just kind of branch off on my own. And I started looking for clients. I literally was driving around taking pictures of for sale signs on front yards, going to all the real estate offices I would see throughout the day in my travels, and I was emailing them graphics. I didn't have any flyers at the time, so I would email them the flyer graphic. And I got my first client. Her name was Elisa, and she's a realtor with Dudham Real Estate, or she was at the time. And I did that photo shoot for her of a house. And I ran the photos through some software that, kind of quickly bulk edited them. And boy, those pictures came out shitty. The coloring was all off. There was a lot of wood in the house, wood paneling, and that threw off, the tone of the images, the color. The angle was fine. The lighting was fine as far as, they were evenly lit. It just, the coloring was all off. And so she gave me some feedback, and I re-edited them, and they looked better, and I was like, she's never going to call me again. And I realized that, okay, I can't edit these on my own because I'm just, and kind of rewinding to the personal side of things, I'm colorblind, a red-green color deficiency, which kind of affects some other colors too. So I can see some colors, I just don't always know what they are, if that makes sense. So I ended up finding some editors online, and now I have 3 editors that work for me full time. But Elisa surprisingly was, you know, impressed with maybe my customer service or just the photos, whatever she was impressed with. She ended up telling her entire office about me. And she literally is the reason that I have a business now, because she just told everybody about me. So while I'm getting busy with doing residential real estate for this one particular office, I started reaching out to others. And the property manager for Mare Island reached out to me and said, hey, we have another building we need photographs of, we need aerial photos, that sort of thing. How much would you charge us? And I quoted them, and they said, wow, that's a lot cheaper than the previous company that we used was charging us. The company that paid me $50 was charging them somewhere in the range of $1,000 and some change or something. So I went out and did a shoot, and that, you know, they were happy with those, and that shoot has literally turned into years of business, and it goes above and beyond doing photos and floor plans and 3D tours of their buildings. I've been doing events out there with them, photo booths, all kinds of stuff. So that relationship kind of carried on further than just doing the real estate photos. So I just stopped to grab some Starbucks. Let's get back on with the story. So I started getting clients here and there. I was driving around gathering contact information, email addresses, that sort of thing, from for sale signs on people's front yards. And I started, you know, just doing some searching on the internet for realtors near me. And I would go to their website and grab their email addresses, and I started building this little list together. And I joined a group on Facebook, a real estate photographer group. I found an email distribution software. I think I was using MailChimp at the time. I've since switched to Sendinblue, which has changed their name to Brevo, Brevo. So I use them now exclusively to send out email marketing campaigns. But I took this list and I blasted, you know, an email out saying, hey, I'm here in town, you should hire me, this is why, that sort of thing. And I put in the Facebook group that I sent this email blast out. And boy, I got a lot of people that were like, oh, I wouldn't do that. It's like cold calling, and you got to be careful with spam. You do got to be careful with, you know, being flagged as spam. I agree to that. But in the process of reading these comments on this post that I had just posted, I got 10 orders for real estate shoots. So I was happy because I don't think I'd ever gotten 10 orders in one day. And I'll tell you more about the software that I was using to take those orders, probably in a different podcast. But so yeah, that kind of started my real estate photography journey. Just really identifying where pain points were for agents and trying to figure out how to solve those. And a lot of them, I'd say, you know, 90% of the pain points for agents is customer service. They don't get the pictures back in a timely manner. They don't hear from the photographer in a timely manner. When they do give feedback, it's not listened to. It's not, you know, corrected. So, you know, I'm starting doing all these shoots, and some point in 2018, the company that I had been working for as a real estate photographer, they called me and they said, hey, we saw your website. Can you take your pricing list down because it looks similar to ours? And that was like a really unusual request for one business owner to reach out to another business owner and say, hey, take your pricing down. And so I went to their website to look, and they had different packages. They had pricing. My prices weren't anywhere near theirs. As far as, well, no, pricing can be near somebody else's pricing, but my packages didn't look like theirs. They might have been charging $125 for their basic shoot. Mine started at, I think, $175. They had 3 packages, and they weren't named anywhere similar to mine. Mine have always been the silver, gold, and platinum package. Theirs wasn't that. So I just kind of chuckled, like, no, I'm not taking my pricing down. Furthermore, like, you should always be transparent with your pricing and put it on your website. If you're not going to include an actual price, give a starting at point, because it's a waste of your time and your potential client's time to get on a call and you give a whole sales pitch and then they say, oh, well, you're too expensive when it comes to the pricing. At least if they see that, my prices are $10,000 a shoot or $50 a shoot, whatever that price is, by the time they get on that phone call with you, they're that much more interested in booking. Like, that at least the money wasn't the factor of why they decided to go with you or not go with you. So, where was I at? So, yeah, I told them, no, I'm not taking the pricing down, and that really just kind of ended the relationship. They stopped sending me on shoots, they deactivated my email account, and kind of was just that. So in my head, I was like, all right, well, now I'm going to crush you from a business point of view, because I was just starting, we were in 2 different areas too of the Bay. So they were down around the San Jose area. I was in the Solano County, Northern Bay area, East Bay, that sort of thing. And yeah, so I just decided, okay, well, they're now my competition. I'm going to treat them like such. So I started doing shoots, and my reputation grew, and I was getting busy. And at some point, I got busy to where I was going to tell an agent, I can't shoot on Wednesday, but can you do next week? And agents hate waiting, boy. Well, it's not that they hate waiting; they have time constraints. They have to get a house. They get a listing agreement signed, and they have to get the house on the market in a certain amount of time. And then, there's just a lot of like, hurry up. So when I realized that I was having to tell agents to wait for shoots, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just was trying to be as booked and busy as possible. I figured out a way to make myself on demand, and that was to bring on other photographers to work with me and to train them on the angles that I shoot, the camera settings I use, the camera equipment that I use, so that I could effectively clone myself. And, they would go out and do the shoots. They would upload the unedited images to me, and then I would have my editing team edit them, and by the time images got to the client, regardless of where the shoot was, they should all look like they came from the same person or the same company. And that's kind of the business model that I have today, and that's the one that works, and that's the one that most agents are happy and comfortable with. So I now have multiple photographers around California and into some other states, and I have the same editors I've had for years, and that's how it goes. I also have an admin assistant who helps process the orders and does other kind of mundane tasks for me that are really critical to the business, but I don't have the time to do or the patience to sit and do. So she handles that. So that's where I'm at today with real estate media. And that's the sparksmediagroup.com website. That is Sparks Media Group. So that's kind of how that business got started. And I have, a ton of more stories I could go into about Sparks Media Group. But I'll save that for another podcast. So yeah, I'm still headed to a shoot. I just got an alert that a shoot that I have coming up, I think next week, is rescheduled. So I got to look at that when I get situated. But I'm going to end this for now and have a snack and wait for my first conference call before I get to this photo shoot. All right, everybody. It's currently 10:20 a.m. I just had one conference call. I got on, it was a consultation call actually. I got on and the client wasn't prepared, and so they needed to reschedule. And the terms of service agreement I have with the vendor who scheduled this call for me was that I get paid for my time regardless. So I didn't bill them for the full worth of the call, but I did bill them for 30 minutes. And I was only on the call for 6 minutes. So I got half of my hourly rate for 6 minutes of work, and they will reschedule when they are prepared. So got off that call, hopped on another call with the client to discuss some pricing and issues with the scan that's coming up that I have. And so, yeah, just a couple calls back to back. And I got to my first shoot of the day, which is a residential real estate shoot, a little bit early. So now I'm just waiting for the agent to show up. And in the meantime, I'm going to sit and send out some emails and respond to some messages. All right, everybody. It's now 11:44 a.m. I just finished a house shoot where I was just hired to do photography. But while I was there, I did a 360. I did a series of 360 photos with a camera that was sent to me for review, the Insta360 X4. So I did a bunch of photos of the house to throw together a 360 tour using a software, Kula, Kuula. And so in making that content, I recorded a video of the process that I'll put out on my YouTube channel. And then I also did a floor plan with the QB Casa app. So photos, floor plan, and a 360 tour, including a tutorial video. I started at about 10:50 a.m. Got there a little bit early, and a neighbor started questioning me about why I was in the neighborhood and could they help me and all this stuff. And typically I don't answer those kind of questions because it's none of their business why I'm in the neighborhood. But this was an elderly lady who ended up telling me that somebody tried to scam her out of some money, and the sheriff told her that to be leery of people who were in her neighborhood, I guess. So anyway, I had a 10-minute conversation with her before the agent showed up. really random. So yeah, I'm done with that shoot. Now I'm gonna go grab some lunch, hop on another conference call, send out some emails, respond to some messages, and make my way to my last shoot of the day, which is some headshots for some board members of a country club. So, in the almighty words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, everybody, it's 3:35 p.m. Thursday, January 23rd. And I had a couple more conference calls, was able to get a bunch of emails sent out. Had some lunch, and now I'm headed to my last shoot of the day, which is headshots of some board members at a country club. So I will get that done, and then I'm going to head back to the office, download everything from the day. I got a couple of shoots that I was booked for that I need to put in the calendar. A couple reschedules that I need to put in the calendar. And I got a couple videos I need to work on. And I'll try to get this uploaded to my podcast tonight or tomorrow. But in the meantime, follow me on all my social medias. Instagram is at Sparks Media Group or at Scan Your Space. My website is www.sparksmediagroup.com and www.scanyourspace.com. Scan, SCANYOURSPACE.com, scanyourspace.com. There's blogs on both of those websites that I post pretty frequently. My podcast is Behind the Lens. You can find that on various platforms. And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/at Sparks Media Group. So take a look. I post a lot of informational videos there. If you have any feedback on anything, please drop me a comment or an email or a text message. Send a carrier pigeon, that sort of thing. I love to see the feedback and hear the comments and answer questions. I am available for paid Zoom consultations that if you hire me, I'll record it, and you can ask me anything related to my businesses, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And there's information on both of my websites for those consultation calls. So yeah, reach out. Let's connect. I'll be back. All right, so it's now 6:10 p.m. and I'm finished with my last photo shoot of the day. I did 2 headshots of new board members at a country club. I got there a little before 5 o'clock to set up. Didn't take long, maybe 10 minutes. And the board members were in a meeting running a little late, so we didn't actually start shooting until about 5:30, 5:40, somewhere around that range. And literally I took 6 photos total between the 2 of them. They each picked the one they liked, and I deleted the other 4. And it took about, 10 minutes in total. And the rest of the time I was packing up and getting everything back to my car. So now I have an hour drive home. I have to run a couple of errands on the way home and grab some stuff. So I'll get home, and then I'll start uploading for the day, or start uploading my stuff from the day and get to work on a couple of videos that I want to put out. So busy day. Started this morning and we're still not done yet. This isn't always typical to have a busy day like this, but it does happen more often than not. And keep in mind, I'm not a, single man show. I do have an admin assistant who helps out with certain tasks. I have an editing team, which is great. They help out. And I have a photography team that also helps out and does shoots. And so I think altogether today we probably have had about 15 shoots. And so there's a lot of files in and out. But the machine keeps on moving. I was at this country club doing the photos, and I've done the headshots before. I've done a photo booth there several times throughout the years for Christmas and Mother's Day and Easter. And this is kind of completely random, but related to business. They didn't hire me for this past Christmas event with Santa Claus. And so I asked the person who hired me for the headshots, I said, hey, what happened? Did I get fired from the photo booth? And she said that they had went with a company they used years before they started working with me. And they went with that company because they provided nice envelopes for the photos to go into. And they provided multiple reprints of the photos from the photo booth, which are services that I offer. They just didn't ask, and I didn't know to offer that to them. It's on my website, but they didn't say, hey, we really want envelopes this year, and we really want multiple prints. So how it works in the photo booth is, you get they were actually ordering 5x7 prints. So each time somebody's in front of the booth, it prints out a 5x7. And I say photo booth, but really what it is similar to like a, at the mall with Santa or the Easter Bunny. A family will sit on Santa's lap or stand next to the Easter Bunny. I'll use my camera and snap a picture. The camera's connected to the computer. There's a printer connected to the computer, and it prints out a 5x7 in about 11 seconds, a little less. And I can do everything from 2x6 strip prints all the way up to panoramic 8x10s, 8x12s, even larger. But they order 5x7s. And what was happening was, this is a country club with a lot of members, and so sometimes the whole family would come for these events, and it would be maybe 10 family members, and it would be like, okay, we want to picture the kids by themselves, and then we want the kids with the parents, and then we want the kids with the grandparents, and then we want the whole family all together. And that was just really tying up the line. There's hundreds of members, so we started handing out raffle tickets, and one ticket was one print. And it would also print out a little receipt that had a QR code on it, and if you scan that QR code, it would open the digital image where you could either save it to your phone, you can email it to yourself, you can text it to yourself. So if a family wanted, 17 copies of one picture, I wasn't going to print out 17 5x7s. I would just say, here's the QR code, download them all. You can order prints online and have them shipped right to your house from the website. You just weren't going to get them right then and there. Not so much because of the cost of the paper, because the paper, for what I was charging, is really inexpensive. I think it's like 11 cents a print. But really, what it boiled down to was the time it took to print those pictures was eating into the time I was there, which was slowing down the line, and if they're hiring me for 4 hours and I'm not able to get to everybody because some people are wanting multiple prints, that's a problem. So, a solution would have been, okay, I have multiple printers. I could have hooked up multiple printers and it could have just, spit out however many people wanted. But again, they didn't order that. They didn't even ask me if that was an option, and it's on my website as an option. So they ended up going with another company, which happens a lot. I was talking to a client today and I said, I really thrive on that feedback, that criticism. And I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier. If I did mention it earlier, I'm going to cut all this out. If I didn't mention it earlier, here it is. We as a people don't like to give that feedback that says, hey, this could have been better. I wish you would have did this. What we hear is, oh, the images are great. And so in this case, I wish they would have said, hey, we really like working with you. Your prices are fair, or your prices seem high. If they felt my prices were high, could have said that. But they didn't. They just, ended up going with another company. And, I look at it like a missed opportunity because that's an easy fix. The envelopes for the pictures are, maybe 30 cents an envelope. So that's negligible for the amount that I was charging them. And so anyway, that's it. I think I'll reach out to the marketing person in a few days and say, hey, just following up on our conversation, I'd love to keep working with you guys on the photo booth side of things. Let's have a discussion. So that's that. Anyway, I have an hour journey ahead of me, and that's all I can think of to talk about for now. So I'll be back. Okay, everybody. It is currently 11:19 p.m. and I'm just finishing up all my work. I've gotten everything uploaded. I've processed these 360 panos into a Kula tour. I've put together 2 videos, and I will be releasing them on my YouTube channel soon about the process. But yeah, extremely long day. I don't even remember what time I left the house this morning, but it's in the audio of this podcast. And yeah, that's a day in the life of a photographer. So again, comment on the podcast or the video if you find it on YouTube. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up. Share it if you find it valuable. But that's it. Thanks for listening.